I rented the aquarium tunnel after hours. I didn't rent the aquarium tunnel to look at fish. I rented it because water makes liars sound ridiculous. At 11:31 p.m. my phone buzzed with the sentence I could recite by muscle memory. Loadout ran late, quick debrief turned into drinks, might crash at the office, don't wait up. Lee doesn't lie, she drafts. She manages donors and chaos and small mutinies for a living. She knows how to stack virtues until the room forgets it wanted heat. For the last year we'd been a well-run show. Decent weather, careful kindness, deferred hunger. The person who made that dangerous is the operations lead. Of course, the person with gaffer in his tote and responsibility in his posture. The one who stands one respectful step from married women and teaches rooms to stop panicking. His name is Anton. He is the kind of man you want 3 feet away from an emergency. I admire him in daylight and despise him after midnight, which is a math problem my neck notices before my head does. The aquarium opens the tunnel under the shark tank for weddings and donors, and if you ask nicely and leave cash for the night staff, small experiments in honesty. The head of security used to work at the community center. Last winter I helped him lift a busted crate from a flooded basement. We live in a city where favors are a water table. You can have the tunnel to 1, he said. No trials after 2. He didn't smile when he said it. Water respects only useful laws. The tunnel is a hallway of tempered glass arched over your head so the ocean can ignore you at close range. Pumps breathe. Light moves in slow thought. The shadows of animals cross you with impunity. I set 2 benches at the middle and sat where the floor flares into a diamond. The strip lights along the base hummed like an old song trying to remember the words. I put my palms on my knees the way men do when they are preparing to admit what they have rehearsed to a room with windows. They came down just before midnight. Lee with her hair pinned up in the shape of a plan, Anton with the sleeves, the tote, the spine that makes you trust your own choices more than you should. He saw me first. Men who carry after midnight get good at reading glass. He lifted 2 fingers in a greeting that didn't ask for an answer and looked to Lee to see whether he still belonged in the part of the building with light. She pushed the door and walked in like the tunnel owed her clarity. He stopped at the threshold and set the tote down the way a man puts a tool away when he is trying not to be a metaphor. "Do you need me?" he asked us careful. "I need you exactly there," I said, pointing to the entry alcove where a respectful man can pretend not to overhear tides. He stayed where the light called him harmless and the door remembered his name. Lee stood with her back to the glass, the water throwing maps on her throat. She looked at me and let her mouth forget what faces owe hallways. Then she found her language again. "Why here?" she asked. "Because nothing lies in a room that could drown you for trying," I said. "And because you once asked me to take you someplace that would make us honest without making us noble." "Say the thing," she said. "Did you kiss him?" I asked. It came out like I intended to keep breathing either way. "In an elevator," she said, because the universe enjoys its rhymes. 2 weeks ago, between floors and good advice. It was quick and mint and rehearsal. He stepped back. He said my name like a lock. I hated and loved him in the same half-second. I haven't been to a room with him since. Tonight I thought about it. I didn't. I came here. Anton cleared his throat with the humility of someone who knows what not to narrate. The pump above us sighed. A ray crossed the glass with the patience of a better century. "I wanted to hit him," I said. "You wanted to hit the part of me that forgot to invite you," she said. "I can hit that part. Use your hands for work I still want." My mouth remembered what it was for long before it learned apology. I stepped into her, no theater, just competence, and kissed her with the accuracy of a person who knows which walls carry weight. She answered like a room that remembered why we installed light. My palm found the back of her neck and pressed my thumb into the small notch I've kept since the apartment with the tilting floor and the mattress that called itself a bed. She breathed the sound people make when they have paid rent on a life and want to spend something else. "Invite me when you're interesting," I said into the soft place below her ear. "Not just when you're frightened you'll be easier to love in other lighting." "I am inviting you," she said. "Stand where I stand when the room is watching. Keep your hands on me in daylight." We kept our clothes because neighbors exist even under sharks. We let heat behave like a language. I slid my hand along her ribs to her waist until the elastic tapped my wrist and I stopped, not because I didn't want to, but because I did. She tugged me closer by the front of my jacket. Our foreheads met with the quiet thunk of glass choosing sides. "Do you still want to hit him?" she asked, smiling almost and not. "I want to thank him for stepping back," I said. "I want to owe him nothing else." "Then I can live with both of you," she said. We sat on the bench with water writing maps on our knees. Lee told me the truth I didn't earn and she didn't owe. The kiss had been curiosity dressed as courage. The stopping was the only part of the night she liked when the sun got involved. The almost tonight had felt like standing in front of a door and hearing it practice her name. I told her about the night I drove to a motel and sat in the lot with a key I never used because I wanted a story more than a life. We didn't trade wounds. We exchanged the measurements of a boat we weren't going to sink. Anton shifted his weight like a man prepared to be properly dismissed. "Lines will hold," he said from the door, not quite looking at either of us. "Loadin' at 9. He let the door close behind him without auditioning for grace. The pumps made the sound lungs make when the room decides the argument is over for now. At 9 the next morning, the community center smelled like lemons that had read a manual. Anton lifted tables with the kind of modest inevitability that teaches volunteers to believe in repetition. I walked over with coffee and a sentence I owed him. "Thank you," I said, "for being the adult in the elevator." He nodded once like men who prefer to keep their jobs due and then thought better of modesty. "You did the hard thing," he said. "You showed up." We left it there because neither of us loves theater as much as we used to. Lee moved through the room with a clipboard and the mouth that persuades busy people to breathe before they lift. When she passed me, she touched my wrist, daylight legal, and the morning obeyed. I still rent the tunnel sometimes. The staff pretends it's for anniversary photos we don't end up taking. We sit under the sharks and let the pumps practice being trustworthy. Sometimes she texts come and mean stand beside me while I bend a room into competence and beauty. Sometimes I text come and mean watch me be a body before I become a plan. Sometimes we invite a friend who needs to stand under a thing bigger than their worst idea and be small without being humiliated. We did not stop admiring other people's competence. We did stop confusing it with permission. Heat is a temperature, not a verdict. We eat before we try to win. We sleep when the clock loses its manners. We touch each other in daylight like the sun still issues licenses. Every now and then, when the gossip part of the city asks if we have anything to add, we walk it down the dock and into the tunnel and let water talk. The water remembers. It remembers the way she leaned into my hand like a citizen of her own skin. It remembers the sound my breath made when I became interesting again. It remembers a man at a door stepping back and keeping his job. "No trials after 2, the guard says." He's right. After 2, there is only invitation or rehearsal. We pick the one the sharks don't laugh at. We choose each other where the pumps can hear. We go home smelling like salt and humility. We keep the city afloat with gaffer and lists and the unteachable accuracy of mouths that learned their work before the law got involved.